Brandis, as you just heard, Mayor Lightfoot and a coalition of community groups have reached a deal on a commission of Chicago residents that would oversee the Chicago Police Department. That deal could be introduced by Tuesday and voted on by Wednesday. And joining us now to get their reaction to the deal and other business-facing city council are 37th Ward Alderwoman Emma Mitz, Alderperson Andre Vasquez of the 40th Ward, Alderman Matt Martin, who represents the 47th Ward, and Alderman Scott Waguespack of the 32nd Ward. It's good to see all of you. I'll start with you, Alderman Vasquez. We just heard about the deal on police oversight. Will this have a majority of city council members in support?
I believe after the conversations, the process itself was one where we heard feedback from all of the council members. So, it's not, nothing is easy, but I do feel confident that we will have the votes to support and get this passed.
And the way this is structured right now, the mayor does get to appoint the commission members, or at least approve the commission members, and she can also veto policy changes the commission comes up with, and veto a recommendation to hire or fire a superintendent. Alderman Waguespack, is that the right balance of power here between the mayor and citizens in terms of public safety oversight?
I think it is. Elected officials still have to be responsible for public safety, but for years we've been working toward this compromise. And I think what it does is it puts some structure in place to allow for that community oversight, allows for community participation. We'll have different advisory councils, but in the long run, what it does is it just provides elected officials, a broader look at how we deal with public safety. So I think in the long run, the process and the procedures in place will benefit everybody. And I really have to give shout out to a lot of the aldermen that have been working on this for many years, and then the aldermen who really focused in on the weekend to work out a compromise here. And that's Alderman Sawyer, Alderman Osterman, the folks here on this call. Everybody was working together to, work out their issues, but make sure that we have a good product at the end.
Alderwoman Mitz, you've got all these agencies like the Police Board, COPA, and now the new ECPS. Is there any worry about too much bureaucracy overseeing public safety and police reform?
No, I don't think that we can have too much. I think the more input that we have, the more we can address the issues. So I think that we're at a great start here to be one of the lead in the country for ordinance with police oversight. So I'm excited about it. It's been a long time getting here, and the work that it's been a lot of hard work done by many. I too, like Alderman Scott, would thank Alderman Carlos Ramirez and also Alderman Sawyer for taking the lead, and many groups and ministers. That was my reason why I did not want to just go with one ordinance, given the fact that we had worked on these ordinance, GAP ordinance for so long, and COPA, and then we had to just introduce. I couldn't support that without community input. Too many people and too much at stake here.
A lot of different groups and stakeholders involved. It seems like there's consensus here, at least on this panel. Alderman Martin, a lot of those groups wanted this board to have the ultimate power to hire and fire the superintendent and to set policy. But again, as we mentioned, the mayor does have the ability here to veto these things, and then city council has the ability to override these vetoes. Do you think that's the right balance of power, given what community members had asked for?
We've heard since I got into office 2 years ago, and even before then on the campaign trail, is that we want to place a democratic accountability and democratic voice at the center of how we're overseeing our public safety entities, not just the police department, but also COPA and the police board. This is a step in the right direction in so many ways, especially knowing that following the murder of Laquan McDonald, the Department of Justice sharing a very thorough investigation, essentially telling Chicago from soup to nuts, we need to change the way that we do public safety. This is a critical step in the right way, but again, ensuring that we're hearing from the voices of folks all across the city who want to play a more central role in how we oversee our public safety entities and craft policy so that public safety becomes something that we all can support, that we can really be, as Alderwoman Mitz said, that a leader finally when it comes to what public safety should look like throughout the country.
And Alderman Vasquez, this comes on another very violent weekend. 11 people that we know of to this point killed, more than 50 shot by gun violence. Today, CPD announces this new joint local and federal gun investigations unit to go after trafficking. Are you able to go to your constituents and say there's something new here, there's something different in this proposal that can make a difference in the violence we're seeing?
Absolutely. I mean, I think something that we'd had conversations even before coming to office. If there isn't any sort of trust in an institution, it's hard to get the results one would want that would help keep the public safe. So I think, one, we're seeing that steps are being taken to try to address that. But I think what this body does is allow for the community input and engagement that helps improve the process. And looking through after 8 hours of negotiation this past weekend, coming up with something that really takes a good step forward, that comes from a collaborative space and looks to improve and work together on getting things done. I think we can look at our constituents and say, there's a lot of hard work over a number of years, and we really talked it out to come up with something mindful, something fair, that addresses the issues and does it in a way that is balanced, that we can improve the institution and build more faith and trust in what public safety should be for our city.
And also at the same time, Alderman Waguespack, the police union head, John Catanzara of FOP Lodge 7, says there's an agreement at long last with the city on a new contract worth a certain amount over 8 years. The mayor says not so fast. In fact, Catanzara says there's an agreement on financial details of that contract. What's your understanding into where that's at?
I don't think we have an agreement. We haven't seen one, and as far as I knew, they weren't coming to the table. But you know, we're hopeful that they do. I think what we would like to see is that a lot of the issues that are brought forward about reforming the police department are built into that contract. So it's not just an issue of the monetary aspect of it. It is, you know, what can we do better in the contract to make the police department better, to train our officers better, and to provide them with the kind of support that they need and the resources they need to do their job correctly and in a way that really pulls our whole city together. But I haven't seen any details on that.
And that has to be ratified by City Council. Alderwoman Mitz, I mean, I don't think anyone's seen details on what the reform aspects of the contract would be. Are you ready to sign off on a new deal with police officers?
Well, I have to see them as well, but I'm hopeful that we can come to an agreement to sign off. They are serving and protecting, and I do think that they need a contract. And if they keep working hard at it, it'll get there. Because I believe that the contract is close, should be close to them, closer than being apart.
Well, a lot of negotiations on a lot of fronts. Alderman Martin, I mentioned the particularly violent weekend. Is there any hope that what the police department announced today with a gun investigations and gun trafficking unit, along with federal officials, any hope that that can make a difference here?
I think there's certainly hope that in the short term that's going to put a dent in the significant problem, the crisis that we're dealing with. We need to make sure, however, that this isn't going to continue to be a cyclic thing. As folks probably remember, after the murder video of Laquan McDonald came out, we had a very tough year following that when it came to gun violence. Things went down, they're up again. And so what we need to be doing is making sure that we're really tackling the root causes of crime when it comes to instability involving housing, healthcare, access to food, job employment, and also looking beyond the police department as we're working to do this fall, standing up a pilot program to have crisis workers paired with paramedics to respond to nonviolent calls for service involving mental health. That's where a lot of our peer cities are going. That's where we need to go as quickly as possible.
And we're going to have to watch that pilot program for mental health calls. And we'll be joined again by the Alder people to discuss the ward remap process, among other things. But for now, our thanks to Alder people Emma Mitz, Andre Vasquez, Matt Martin, and Scott Waguespack. Thank you so much.